It says, brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual restore such as one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. So we have to understand, we're ordered. If we see a brother or a sister going back into their worldly ways, or we see a brother or sister that's doing something contrary to the law, we are ordered to go to that brother and correct them, or go to that sister and correct them. What's happening is we have a lot of effeminate men, and we have a lot of emotional women that refuse to stand up and be lions and go to their brother and sister in boldness and not care about what they feel, because Isaiah 58:1 tells us to cry loud, spare not. We're not sparing your feelings, because if we spare your feelings, we could do something to the point where you will not see the kingdom. That's the fake love that the Christian church has taught us. Now we outside of the Christian church, but we brought the same traditions into Israel, and we calling ourselves Israel, calling ourselves a line of Judah, calling us, saying that we're strong and we're powerful men and prophets of the Most High, but we get so timid when rebuke come to our door. This is the foolishness that's going on in Israel, and this is the reason why Israel is suffering much people going back into the world, because they're too timid, they're too soft. Shalom, Israel. Most High in Christ bless. First and foremost, we want to give all praises to Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai King, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Today I'm going to do a quick lesson on properly putting away strife from Israel. And we're going to dig into these scriptures, and we're going to see what the scriptures say, what we're supposed to do, and how we're supposed to handle situations when it comes against brothers and sisters in Israel that has strife between one another. So from there, first thing I want to go to is Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. And it reads, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no more priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the laws of God, I will also forget thy children. We have to understand our people are destroyed because we refuse to read. This is our history. This is a blueprint to life. Once you get a car, the first thing that you get in the car, you get the owner's manual. This is the owner's manual to our life, not only naturally, but spiritually. This is the owner's manual. We got to go to this, and we have to go and dig into the scriptures when it comes down to things that we're dealing with, or things that is bothering us, or things that we have oughts against our brothers and sisters. But what happened is we're rejecting the knowledge that the Most High God has gave us, and we're going against our own. And this is what created strife. It's the same thing that's going on in the Christian church. This is the reason why it's so wicked and so much things that's going on in the Christian church, because they refuse to go to the scriptures to get the knowledge of how to fix and change not only people, but ourselves, not only physically, but spiritually. So from there, I want to go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 14. 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 37. It says, if any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge the things that are written unto you, are the commandments of the Lord. For if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant. Therefore, brethren, covet to prophesy, and forbid not to speak in tongues, with tongues. Let all things be done in decency and in order. See, what happens is we left the world alone, and we left the Christian church alone, but we're still inheriting their ignorant way of thinking, or the worldly way of thinking. If you are a new creature, you're supposed to put the things that is of this world behind you and not bring it into the kingdom. because you are renewed. You're supposed to renew. What I have realized that a lot of brothers and a lot of sisters out here has not yet came to the place of repentance. A lot of people say that they have repented, but never repented, because if you repented, the old things are done away with, and behold, all things become new. So you have a new way of thinking. You know that you're going to have to go to the scriptures for everything that you have, that every problem that you have to be, that you come up with. A lot of people say it doesn't have to be spiritual. Yes, everything is spiritual. Everything of it, that you come up, every problem that you come up with is a spiritual aspect, and you have to go to the Creator and get the antidote for any problem that you're dealing with. So from there, I'm going to go to the book of Leviticus. The book of Leviticus, chapter 19, and starting at verse 15. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty. But the righteousness shall thou judge thy neighbor. You have to judge your neighbor in righteousness. You can't feel some type of way and you go carnally about judging your neighbor. We have to go to the scriptures and see what the scriptures say pertaining to what I feel about my neighbor, or I see my neighbor doing things that's not contrary to this law. Verse 16, it says, thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. You're not supposed to go running and telling brothers and sisters what this other brother did, or running and telling what this other sister did. The Most High said there's order that you're supposed to do. And if we negate from the order that the Most High God has called us to, you're wicked as hell. And you're wicked as hell, and you're not going according to what the Most High said. And we should know this as Israel. We should know this as set aside. Know that we cannot do the things that we used to do when we was in the world. Verse 17, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. So yes, a lot of brothers and a lot of sisters, what they have a problem with is rebuke. The first time that a brother or a sister that has not repented, when you rebuke them, the first thing that they do, they get upset. They get in their feelings. They want to hold grudges about something that they done wrong. But the brother in love coming to him in love, or the sister in love coming to him and rebuking him, meaning correcting and letting them know their faults. They have ought, or they have strife against that brother that basically snatching them out of fire. Israel, we need to do better. We need to stop being so emotional when it comes down to rebuke. We need to stop being so soft and timid when correction comes to us. So from there, I'm going to go to the book of Galatians. The book of Galatians. Book of Galatians, chapter 6. And I'm going to start reading at verse 1. It says, brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual restore such as one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. So we have to understand, we're ordered. If we see a brother or a sister going back into their worldly ways, or we see a brother or sister that's doing something contrary to the law, we are ordered to go to that brother and correct them, or go to that sister and correct them. What's happening is we have a lot of effeminate men, and we have a lot of emotional women that refuse to stand up and be lions and go to their brother and sister in boldness and not care about what they feel, because Isaiah 58:1 tells us to cry loud, spare not. We're not sparing your feelings, because if we spare your feelings, we could do something to the point where you will not see the kingdom. That's the fake love that the Christian church has taught us. Now we outside of the Christian church, but we brought the same traditions into Israel, and we calling ourselves Israel, calling ourselves a line of Judah, calling us, saying that we're strong and we're powerful men and prophets of the Most High, but we get so timid when rebuke come to our door. This is the foolishness that's going on in Israel, and this is the reason why Israel is suffering much people going back into the world, because they're too timid, they're too soft. Verse 6, it says, let him that is taught in the word communicate him that teach in all good things. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. We have to understand there's certain things that's going to come forth in our life, and we wonder why so much turmoil and wonder why so much things is coming in our life, because we have sown hateful seeds. So what we're going to get back, we're going to get hate back. And understanding, we're always thinking that somebody is always out to get them. Somebody is always talking negative or talking down on a brother. No, it's you refuse to receive correction, and you get in your feelings when correction comes. So from there, let me go to the book of Ezekiel. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 18. I'm going to do what thus saith the Lord, rather you like it or love it. And I'm going to stand boldly, rather I lose you or rather I gain you. I don't care who it is, who it may be. If my mama was still living, I would rebuke her with the boldness of Yahweh. So we're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 8, Ezekiel chapter 3. And we're going to start at verse 17. It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the words at my mouth and give them warning for me. The Most High is using his children. The Most High is using his set aside ones to give the people that are lost, the people that are effeminate, the people who are dealing with things in their life. He have given them charge to give them warning for the Most High, because they don't want to read the word themselves. They don't want to take heed to the word, but sometimes when somebody give them correction and boldness and not care about how they feel and not afraid to come to them with hopes of hurting their feelings, we have to speak this truth to these brothers in boldness and not care how they feel. So verse 18, it says, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked ways to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquities, but the blood will I require at thy hands. We have to understand this. To much is given, much is required. The more we study in these words, we have to understand we have a bigger weight of requirement upon our shoulders. We cannot sit back with our mouth closed and we go out in the streets and we rebuke Esau and we rebuke the brothers that's not learned in the scriptures. But when it comes down to the people that their eyes are open and who they are in Israel, we're too afraid to go to them and speak a word of correction in hopes to save their soul. So you got brothers and sisters out there talking about one another, thinking that they're doing something by rebuking a brother in secret. You have to understand that you talking about a brother, but that same thing that you're talking about, the Most High is going to require it at your hands. So what you going to do? Is it time to wake up? Or are you going to continue to play games and be soft and timid, but call yourself a lion? Verse 19, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turns not from his wicked ways, from his wicked ways, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. I don't care if you my friend. I don't care if you my bro. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care if you've been sitting around a round table with me for 3 or 4 years, claim to be Israel. If you are wrong, I'm gonna call you on your mess, and you can leave. I don't care what the situation is. I'm not living for nobody but the Most High. Verse 20, and again, when a righteous man does turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die, because thou hast not given him warning. He shall die in his sins, and his righteousness which he has done shall not be remembered, but his blood shall I require at thine hands. So we have to understand, I don't care how much work you put in. If you was to go back into this world, I don't care if you've been in this truth for 20, 40 years, putting in work. You got thousands of people following you. If you're not going to stay on track, the Most High said, all your righteousness I remember no more. It's high time that we wake up. We can all testify that we're living in these last days, but we still playing games. We still playing with the Most High, knowing what we're supposed to do, but we're still playing with the Most High. We getting it so emotional, but we getting emotional with the Most High. You have to be careful with these brothers and sisters that refuse to take correction. You have to be careful with them that sit back and call you bro and call you sis. We have to understand, you're supposed to live for the Most High and the Most High only. Don't get caught up in these emotional relationships with these brothers and sisters. Verse 21, it says, nevertheless, if thou warn the righteous man, and the righteous sin not, and he does not sin, he shall surely live, because he is warned. Also thou hast delivered thy soul. So warn these brothers, not saying, it's letting you know right now and right here that the righteous and the righteous brothers can fall short. A brother that's been in the truth for 2 months, if he sees something that's out of line, that's contrary to the scriptures, you know what I mean? You're supposed to correct your brother. We're not supposed to run and flee from our brothers and say, I'm not dealing with the brother. We have to understand this. And now I can understand if it's a brother that's wicked as hell, that has repeat offense, that's continue to do the same thing. The Most High tells us to cut them off from Israel and do away with wickedness from Israel. But we have to understand this. The first thing that happened in the Christian church, when they see something wrong in the church, the first thing they do, they leave. They don't give the church warning. They don't give the pastor warning. The first thing they do is flee. Not understanding that if it's 5 or 6 people or 20 members in there, them 20 members' blood is going to be at your hands because you knew to do right. We have to wake up. We have to come up out of this wickedness. We have to do better, Israel. We have to stand strong on the word of the Most High and speak boldly. And don't care about who you lose. Do not care about who getting their feelings. If a brother did not take correction and is not trying to take heed to correction, they're wicked as hell. A lot of people find excuses of why I'm not doing this, or excuses, or try to find a fault in you when you have been rebuked. That's wicked as hell. That's out of order. So go to the book of Matthew. Book of Matthew, and starting at verse 15. Now we going to talk about if we have an ought with our brother. if our brother done something, or rather they've done it wrong, or rather we think that they've done it wrong. We're going to talk about the order which we're supposed to handle things, and the order which the Most High God tell us to do it. And if we do anything contrary or outside of this order, you're going against the Most High God, and you're wicked as hell, and that person's brother's blood is going to be at your hands. It says, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his faults between thee and him alone. If a brother come to you, start to talk crazy about another brother, not only is that brother wicked as hell, but you're wicked as hell for even hearing it. The first thing that you're supposed to do, and the first thing that you're supposed to say to that brother, did you go to that brother and tell him what you're telling me? You're not supposed to hear that. You're not supposed to hear a judgment about another brother. If you call yourself Israel, if you call yourself repentant. It says, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go to him and tell him his faults between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained a brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. That's protocol. We're not supposed to change the protocol of the Most High. What happens, you have a lot of brothers and sisters out there going to go tell 4 or 5 brothers and sisters because they're too soft to come to that brother by themselves. So what they do is they go to 5 or 6 brothers and whisper more than likely lies about another brother and hoping that it get back to the brother. And that's how they call themselves warning brothers about their sin. We got to wake up. We got to do better. I'm going to read that again. It says, but if he will not hear thee, then take with thee 1 or 2 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen, a man, a publican. So in other words, he's saying, if they don't want to hear the church, if they don't want to hear the people that has been brought forth, then you cut them off. They're heathen. They're nothing to you. They're nothing to the Most High because they're wicked as hell. So brothers and sisters, like I said before, we got to do better. We got to come up out of this folly. We cannot come from the Christian church and still be a Christian church with Israel written on it. We got to be better than that. I hope this has edified the listeners. And like I said, Rise of the Chosen, Truth Beyond the Surface Temple. We have several videos, much knowledge about several topics in the scriptures. And like I said, we got to do better, brothers and sisters. With that, I say shalom.